Well, when you listen to analysts around the country, they'll tell you the quarterback is the most important position on the field. And as a quarterback, I wouldn't argue that point. But today, I'm going to talk to a guy that's every bit as important as the quarterback, and it's all on the O-line. Coming up right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Elite Athletes TV. I'm Mike Pulaski, former 11-year pro quarterback and quarterbacks coach here at EliteAthletesTV.com. We are all about helping young athletes improve with both their knowledge and their skills in their chosen sport. So today, we're talking to a young athlete, successful college player, and a guy who understands the transition from high school to college and what that means as an athlete. He is the left tackle for Cal. His name is Will Crag. Fantastic athlete, had an injury last year. He's just coming back off it, so there's a lot to learn about perseverance as well when you listen to Will. And we're going to get into what it means to have a great O-line and what that mentality needs to be. But first, if you're new to the channel, if you love football content, you love college football, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. That way you get notified every time we have new stuff coming out. And we're going to have a lot of college football stuff coming up with the opening of the Pac-12. Also, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to hear about offensive line play from a guy who's doing it at the national level in the Pac-12 at Cal. And leave me comments down below. Love to hear from you. Any thoughts on this interview or anything else you'd like to see? Love to hear from you. One more thing, please share this video out. We appreciate it. We'd like to help as many young athletes as we can. And if you help share this video out, then we can reach more people and affect more lives in a positive way. Now, here's my interview with Will Crag, left tackle, University of California. Some great stuff for young athletes, both O-liners and quarterbacks to listen to. Last season, you got injured in that Washington game. You were coming into it as the kind of the guy at left tackle as part of a solid offensive line. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, I just had high expectations for that season. Felt like I played well against Davis. Was really hyped up for that game, and then to go down and practice, it was heartbreaking. But it's made me appreciate football all that much more. I mean, sometimes you take it for granted, and now it's just like approaching every day. Like, you never know when you get hurt. I mean, injuries are a part of football, and it's made me more grateful for the game. So, I'm trying to make it a positive experience out of the injury.
Well, that's the truth, right? You never know what you have until you lose it. And so injuries will do that to you oftentimes. Tell me about the offensive line. Obviously, I talked to Coach Wood last year before the season, and he said he had, 6 guys that he felt really comfortable with, and then immediately you and Jen will go down, and there's 4 guys, and then you have a bunch more injuries with Safel and the injuries across the line. It got a little. I got to be honest with you, as a quarterback, it got a little bit hard to watch at times during the season last year. Tell me your thoughts on it last year, and then coming into this season.
Yeah, I mean, we had to have a bunch of guys step up last year, and it can be difficult. I mean, Val had to move so many different positions. I felt like he played everywhere on the line last year, and that's extremely hard to do. I mean, but I think guys did a really good job filling in last year. I mean, it's obviously tough, and we're going against great defenses every week. But, where as good as our weakest link, depth is obviously always good to have. And I think this year we have a deep line, a lot of guys that could help contribute. Obviously, we never want injuries to happen, but it's part of the game. And I think this year we have a lot of guys that could definitely step in and be ready to play and help us out. So, I'm feeling confident this year about our depth of the line.
Well, I got to tell you, as a guy who has watched every single snap of Cal football for the last 11 years as a radio analyst, and then has watched it passionately for years, I feel as comfortable about this offensive line as I have about some, going back to the Alex Mack and Jeremy Newberry era. So I feel pretty good about your offensive line this year. Tell me this, as a left tackle, you are the athlete, right? You're the prima donna on the offensive line. How do the other guys treat you?
I don't know if I'm the prima donna, but I've played left tackle my whole life. It's the position I love, and if obviously if they ask me to play something else, I'm happy to do it. But that's the position I want to play. I want to be the left tackle.
It's the toughest spot. I mean, in terms of pass protection, it's the toughest spot there is on the offensive line for a right-handed quarterback. And you guys have a guy back in Chase Garbers this year who is the experienced quarterback in the Pac-12, especially in the North. the only guy with that kind of experience returning. Talk
We
about what
can't let
that means,
that
having
guy
to
get
protect his
touched.
blind side.
Yeah, we can't let that guy get touched. So,
No.
it's our job to protect him. And like you said, it's a difficult spot, but I like that challenge. I think that's part of the reason I like left tackle. I mean, you're going against some of the best rushers in the Pac-12 at that spot. So, yeah, I like the challenge. I think that's one of the reasons I love the left tackle spot so much. I mean, it's really not easy. A lot of times you're one-on-one out there, but that's part of the fun. I mean, that's what you gotta live for. You gotta live to dominate the guy across from you and win your one-on-one. So, yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, my left tackle wasn't a prima donna. He was more of a diva. He ended up playing in the NFL for a while.
Yeah.
Troy Ozzie was fantastic. He's an All-American, fantastic guy. But he would laugh about the guards all the time, and he would tell teams or tell our coaches, like, if you ever want to beat us, just put guys over our guards. So he's that classic left tackle guy beating on the guards and center all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we have great athletes across the board, though. I mean, Mike's just a fantastic athlete at center. So I really think we got just athletes all across our line. So obviously tackles most athletic, but
clearly
it's obvious, but no, we got great athletes across the line. So we're juiced up. I think we can use that to our advantage this year a lot. Just being so athletic, we can get guys out in space, do things maybe we couldn't do before just because we're so athletic across the line.
Yeah, and one of the nuances that people kind of who aren't in the locker room don't get per se is, they talk about a football team as a band of brothers. It's really kind of, yes, you have your team, but then you have offense, defense, which is a little tighter because you're always in meetings together. But then within that, you have units.
Yeah.
And so if an offense is a band of brothers, and this is from Robbie Toback, who played for like 400 years for the Seahawks and Falcons, but if an offense is a band of brothers, an offensive line is quintuplets, right? That's how tight you guys have to be. Talk about how tight you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, the O-linemen are like my best friends on the team. And I think especially with the O-line, it has to be that way because we're not five individuals. We got to be one unit out there. We all have to be on the same page. And it's kind of like, even though I'm playing left tackle, I got to know what the right guard's doing. And I have calls for him that determines what he's doing. And so, like, it's all one unit and we all obviously being close helps. And I mean, we hang out off the field. It's obviously been a little tough to get together and do things this season, but we're trying to make it work. And like, we do our best, we play video games or stuff like that. We do what we can to get that bond. But with so many returning guys, we have a lot of chemistry returning already. So like, obviously I know about forever and Jake and Mike and all these guys. So all pretty good friends. And that's been nice. So we didn't have to like build up any chemistry. We're already all great friends. So.
All right. So a little backside dirt. Who's the nastiest offensive lineman? Who's the gnarliest?
Ooh. I'd say McCade. McCade just has that Texas attitude about him. He doesn't take anything from anyone. He's funny out there. But I think we all got a mean streak to us. And I think you have to as an O-lineman. I think to be a great O-lineman, you got to, like, want to bury people, shove people at the end of the play. I think that's the way to play offensive line. I don't think there's really any other way to play it. Like, you can't – there's no friends in football. You can't be a nice guy out there. Like, you got to be mean. You got to get into people's faces. If someone hits your quarterback, like, we're just not going to let that happen, like,
right.
You get in the guy's face. I mean, that's the attitude I think we got to bring this year. And it's nothing personal, but, like, that's just the way it is. You just got to get after guys.
Yeah, and if you're not bringing that, then you're not a good O-line. There's just no two ways about it, right? There's a certain amount of toughness that you have to have. I tell people all the time, offensive line sets the tone for the entire team. And if the O-line isn't tough, your team will not be tough. And so having that, it's great to hear. I'm an insider, but an outsider because I'm not in that locker room. It's great to hear that the offensive line for Cal this year is going to be tough and gnarly because that's super important. Grinding dudes in a game is huge. Speaking of which, new offense this year, Bill Musgrave, you guys are now going to use fullbacks and tight ends in the same formation, the same sets. I know as an O-liner, you got to love that.
Yeah. I mean, like when we're running, if I had it my way, we'd be running power every play to my side.
Yep.
Like with a fullback next to me and the fullback leading up on someone. Like,
yep.
That's my dream. obviously we got to throw the ball sometimes, but the fun part about offense is offensive line is like pancaking someone or moving someone against his will. Like that's why you play the position. Like I know there's no stats in O-line, so yeah, but like when you move someone against their will, it's a great feeling. But this offense has been awesome. I love having the tight ends. Colin Moore's been doing a great job. Jake Tonjes, I mean, those guys have really come along, and they're going to help us. And then putting a fullback back there, I just love the style and mentality of fullbacks. You know, they're dudes that are just going to – their helmet's going to be all torn up, all marked up. And those are the guys that are just going to lead in the hole, put their body on the line, and just run into people and get the job done. And I love that type of offense. If we ran the ball 60 times a game, I'd be the happiest man alive. I mean,
every offensive lineman I know is exactly the same way. They want to run the ball every single play, and they hate going on first sound. Those two things are kind of consistent with every O-liner I know. Is that true?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, obviously, we got to throw the ball, but I look at it like this. Throwing the ball opens up the run game more. So if we can throw the ball, we can run more. And if we throw the ball and score, we're up. We're running the ball more. So, I mean, that's the end goal. So
I look at it this way: as a quarterback, a running game is a quarterback's best friend. I mean, look at what Jared Goff is doing with the Rams right now. If you have a good running game, then you have play action off of that, and defenses don't know what to do. They don't know to cover run. You know, stop the run, put people in the box, try to drop back into pass. Either way, you kill them.
Yeah, I don't think people realize at home how effective play action can be because if you run a good play action, those linebackers are up. It just opens up the whole field. The D line, like they're thinking run, and then like by the time they realize it's pass, it's too late, and that's all set up by the run game. If you have a good run game, that play action is just going to be absolutely killer. And play action, I think, is just
without a doubt. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, play action is awesome. I'm going to show you something here. So this is from when I was with Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. This is the offense you guys are running now. It's that West Coast offense. This came from originally from the Niners. Before that, it goes all the way back, I think, to Landry. Mm-hmm. Sam Weiss brought it down to us, and it's kind of matriculated through the years into Gruden, into Musgrave. Is your playbook that big right now at Cal?
We got a big playbook. I mean, right now, a lot of it's digital, but our notebooks are just big with notes, and we write up all the plays. There's so many intricacies and little things, like with this look, what we do, we use this technique. And I think we're really going to be able to catch teams off guard this year with how much we're going to be able to do. Like I feel like we can really do it all this year. And with just all the plays and looks we have, I feel like we're going to be a very diverse offense that can get the job done.
And it's like learning a new language. I tell people all the time, when you're learning a new system, you've got to go through it the way you're going to call it in the huddle, which is you go through personnel, you go through formation, motion, pass protection, or run assignment, and then play, right? How do you learn this new offense with Coach Musgrave?
Yeah, I think it just – I don't think it's like school. You got to study. I mean, you're going to get out what you put in. And if you get in your playbook and really study it and just look at the looks, I mean, we're watching film like all the time. We're on the Zoom calls. We were on the Zoom calls all the time in this off season, just watching film, getting this offense learned. And obviously, the best way to learn it is by playing, and you have your bumps in the road when you first install an offense. But right now, we're looking smooth. I think MAs or missed assignments are just very, very low with the offensive line, and we're getting it figured out. And I think we're gonna be ready for week one. I think this offense is gonna be ready to go.
That's awesome. I tell other people, when I left Cal and went to go play professionally, the IQ in the locker room dropped by 15 points. And a huge part of that is the offensive line. I mean, understanding how smart the offensive line truly is at Cal. You know, a place like Cal, Stanford, some of the better schools, you're going to have a really smart offensive line. And those guys have to kind of lead the team in terms of intelligence.
Yeah. And we have some very smart guys. I mean, Mike's I think one of the highest GPA guys. Jake's in the Haas Business School, which is one of the best business schools. So is Matthew Sindrick. We just have some very intelligent guys academically, and it shows on the field because there's like, I feel like if we didn't have as smart of individuals, we'd be more limited in what we could call play-wise. We'd have to simplify things. But because we have such smart individuals, we can really, like if they bring a safety in the box, we can make checks to – we don't have to get out of the play. We can just make checks to adjust the play and do this different scheme. And we have all these checks, and it's really something that if you don't have smart guys, you can't do. And I think that's one of the benefits of Cal is we have such smart guys on this O-line that we're really ready for anything a defense throws at us. I mean, there's obviously defenses like Washington State that are so crazy. You almost have to simplify things for preparing for them. But I think we just got a really smart line, and that's obviously huge for us.
Or just crush them with the run and make them stop the run first, and then you lock them into a box, right? Now, so I'm going to ask you this, and you hit on it.
Exactly.
In terms of studying offensive linemen who love coverage. We help a lot of young athletes around the country. We have Hardy Nickerson coaching linebackers. I'm coaching quarterbacks. We have some of the best athletes to ever play their sport. As an O-liner, as an athlete, what's the best thing you ever learned about football? One thing. That's a tough question, I know. For me as a quarterback, it's not about being an athlete. It's about understanding the game and working within the framework of the game. What is it for you?
Man, let me think on this one.
I hit you on the spot with that, didn't I?
I would say for an O-lineman, well, one thing, I guess the biggest thing for me in high school was like from jumping from high school to college, it's just maintaining all cleats in the ground at all times. Because in high school, you kind of lean into people. If you have all your cleats in the ground, and I know that sounds a little weird, but like just the whole from the ground, you're pounding your feet, you're probably going to win the rep. It's as simple as that sounds. You just got to keep your feet in the ground, keep pounding them. And that's O-line in a simple form. So I'd say that's probably the best advice.
And that's beautiful. You're right. In high school, you're a dominant athlete. Once you get to the Pac-12, you are no longer dominant. You are on par with everybody else. Yeah. And so now having solid foundational technique is huge. I know you guys went from Coach Wood last year, and you've got Angus this year. I heard you talk about him bringing the juice to practice. Mm-hmm. I thought that's awesome. We did the same thing when I was a junior at Cal. We had Bill Lavaroni, who was a fantastic technician. I mean, when it comes to hand placement, footsteps, the whole 9 yards, it was great. And then Dan Cazzetto came in to coach our offensive line, and he was all about attitude, toughness, bringing it. Still had technique, but he just turned up the volume on everything on the offensive line. Is that what's going on at Cal right now?
Yeah, that sounds really similar. I mean, Coach Wood's obviously legendary offensive line coach, and I feel like I was blessed to have him for the 2 years I was here. And he taught me so much just technique-wise. And those first 2 years, I think it's very important to just learn technique and kind of change your game and how you play. But then Angus has been awesome. And Angus is a great teacher of technique as well. I think sometimes that gets lost when talking about him. Like he has so many drills he knows to work on hand placement or anchoring or moving people. But like you said, he brings so much juice and energy, and it's just, I would use the word electric. He's almost electric at practice. He just brings so much energy to the team, the whole team, I'd say. And he brings it, it's not just on practice, it's in film, it's in everything. And I think that energy is translated to the O-line. I think we've picked up on that. And he's been awesome. Love to have him.
And that translates to the rest of the team. I'm going to put you on the spot. How many yards you guys going to rush for this year?
Ooh, I would say I would like 200 yards a game.
Ooh. So in a normal season, 200 yards a game would be 2,400 at the end of the season, right? So that's doable in the Pac, but you only got Pac-12 opponents this year. So I love the 200 yards a game. I think that's awesome.
I think, like I said, that's what we want to be. We want to run the ball, and at least as an O-line. I know Chase wants to throw the ball, but we want to run the ball. We want to move people, and if we can win a game by just running the ball. If we get 3 yards every play and just march down the field, that's the best feeling in the world. That's the
you
best
guys,
feeling in the
you
world.
guys are all the same. O-liners are all the same. You could be Troy Ozine sitting in my meeting room right now. I mean, all you guys crush the ball, run it down their throats, impose your will on the opponent, right?
Yeah, that's and like we said earlier, that's the attitude you got to have. You're not going to be a good lineman if you don't want that. That's where the fun is. When you're laying on top of a dude after you just moved him 5 yards back and then made him fall over. You can't do that anywhere else but football. And so it's an awesome feeling.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's modern day gladiators. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys are in fall training right now, so you got school going on and everything else. Appreciate you taking the time with me here today. I love the attitude. I'm going to be looking at the ISO cam. I want to see a couple pancake blocks out of you early on to start the season versus UW.
Awesome. I'll try and put on a show for you. I'll just
Appreciate
be
that,
trying
brother.
to run block my ass off. So
There you go. Go get them. Take
Appreciate
care.
it, man.
I absolutely love talking to offensive linemen. They are the best people, best teammates in the locker room, period. And so you can hear it from Will. That grind it out, that toughness, that impose your will mentality is what you need to play that position successfully. You can also take from this that perseverance, getting through injury, and understanding how much you love the game when you have to miss it, really important. If you like what we did here today, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you in terms of what you want to see, what you thought about this interview, what you think about Will Craig, or about his prediction for the upcoming season. Remember, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. That way, you get notified every time we have new content coming out, and please share this video out. Family, teammates, friends, anybody who you think can benefit from this content. We want to help as many people as we can. That's why we're doing it here at Elite Athletes TV. So I appreciate you watching here today. We'll have a lot more college football stuff coming up. We always have our instructional stuff coming up, and we'll be bringing you a lot of X's and O's as we get into the college football season. We want to help you, whether you're a quarterback, linebacker, no matter what position you play, with a little bit of training and try to improve your football skills. Appreciate you watching. I'll talk to you soon.